Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Stalktober special event of the Heart of the Jakuls. As always, I'm your reliable host, Lothran, and we're nearing the end of our excavation, so let's get to work. Snatch a tasty snack, steal the best spot there is, get as comfy and cozy as you can, and pay close attention to Cobwebbed Inheritance. Ito fell back, blocking some of the attacks, but crying out in pain as he retreated through a new door. It slammed shut on the sword, and he dropped in his tracks. He hurriedly let go of the blade as it warped and twisted under the weight of the stone pressing into it. He tore a bit of his shirt to bind his injury. Ito had a lot of practice at this point healing his own injuries. He caught his breath as best as he could. Long, deep inhales through his nose, quick, precise exhales from his mouth. He had some practice at this, too. He found the technique scoured into a wall by the skeleton he'd retrieved the sword he'd just lost. Ito had found it, a few dozen rounds ago? Rarely he lived through this mess, and each time it got harder, more was introduced. Yet he hadn't been granted any of the things he desired to change of himself. Ichthior was little help. He mostly asked painful questions, and attacked Ito at random. He managed to control his heaving lungs, opening both eyes. A statue dominated the center of the room. A light poured in from the ceiling and upon the figure standing tall and proud before Ito. He felt its call the instant his eyes fell upon it. It looked a lot like a jackal, astonishingly so, but also sort of hiverish, and a little spat of viper here and there in its features. What? The word fell from his lips unbidden as he got close to the figure. Ito turned back, noting how in a few strides he seemed to have traveled 100 meters. The smooth marble statue now towered above him, emphasizing every perfection and immaculate detail of the figure. Estraja. He spoke the single word emblazoned at the foot of the warrior it now stood beneath. He was a man, well-muscled but lithe instead of bulky. He looked to the horizon, his arms up as if ready to hurl punches, but his eyes shone with energy and life. His smile was casual and joyous. He stood somehow both defensively and with a jaunting exuberance as he was about to shift his stance, as if the artist caught him a scant millisecond into the alteration of his movements. His face was unique, like nothing Ito had ever glimpsed or read about in the deep well. His nose was the typical blunted jackal affair, but his eyes, they had the golden triangles in Ito's face. Estraja, he repeated, reaching out a hand to touch the figure, knowing exactly how to pronounce this odd word, though never having encountered it before. He fell backward on his rump in shock as it sprang to life, the stone turning to living man in the space of a heartbeat, to shrink to Ito's size, relatively. Even as tall and lanky as he still was, Estraja was still just a little bit taller and more muscular. Laughter. The first thing Ito heard of the man before him, as the color coursed across the golem's features. It took some time to gaze around the room. Every space here was a challenge of its own. A fist introduced itself to Ito's stomach. He cried out numbly in stupor as he ran away from the agony that had just befallen him. I see you at least know the lesson of pain. Estraja laughed lightly and in quite a good-natured mood. It's been so long, so wonderfully long. Are you here to train? Ito raised an eyebrow, looking at the odd features of the other man. He had a sort of plate at the top of his head, almost like a mask, but it was a natural feature to his face, and his emotions could easily be made out upon it. Ito leapt back and away from the next attack. Estraja moved like a living lightning. Too quick for the eye to see. Ito wasn't even. The knee struck him full in the face, stars shooting across Ito's vision as he drifted through time and space. a river of black blood curling across his head as the cosmos hung all around him in this singular instant. Estraja walked to his side, catching Ito to gently place him on the floor. Time moved at a regular pace once again. Estraja smiled from ear to ear as he let go of his student. It's nice to be training again. You did okay. Rest for now. Or better yet, Estraja seemed to vibrate and glow, jabbing two of his fingers, and a bolt of black lightning shattering any previous limit of what Ito had imagined pain could ever be. Ah! Ito screeched as the energy racing through every molecule of his body rebuilt him to almost the state he had been in before Estraja had attacked. Why would you put me through that? Why would you reject the process you requested? Estraja asked with a grin and a light laugh, snapping his finger to point at his student. It's a good question. You should mull it over for a bit, if you have the time. Ito rolled and thrust himself off the ground, out of the way of an impact that sliced his face with a dozen shards of stone. How? It's complicated. Details aren't really my strong suit, Estraja replied from behind him. Ito spun to find no one there, turning again to see Estraja standing back where he should be, the flecks of stone slowly falling to the earth, at a pace no bit of rock should ever fall. Ito fell to his knees, retching a torrent of purple and red fluid from what felt like a never-ending fountain at his center. Then he fell into it and spun across the floor through his own horrendous ejecta. He sobbed as he came to a stop, Estraja's toeless feet already where they should not be. How are you doing this? Ito sobbed as he held up one arm defensively against an assault he hoped would not come. You're very weak yet. I will give you a short break. A better question for you is, how are you doing this? Estraja walked back to the pedestal that had so shortly ago held him in its clutches. He idly flicked stones off of the otherwise stark surface. I don't understand? Ito crawled on his agony-filled hands and knees. His body felt like it was trying to rip itself apart. That is how ignorance works, Estraja replied once more at his pupil's side. I would be sorry, but you're ever so slow. He grabbed his charge by the back of his skull, throwing him at the foot of the marble podium. Ito felt his fragile bones snap within his spine. Crying out, his legs went numb. Why are you tormenting me? He begged as he fell to the cold stone floor, warming with a trickle of blood from his back. This is what you asked for. I am providing a service. Few, very few, are capable of even understanding. Fortunately for you and I, we don't have to understand it. You just have to learn the method with which I used to defeat Arcturian so badly that he begged me out to alter him in the manner that I altered myself, and am now altering you. It's impossible for a conceptualist to alter themselves. Ito parroted what he'd been taught. You believe everything you hear in school? Estraja menaced his student with a curled fist for a moment before sitting on his pedestal as if they were old friends. Ichthior gets details wrong a lot. Morphs do that. I can't learn maths or medical stuff. Words are just fine, though. He smiled down at his pupil, thrusting a black, lightning-infused finger down at Ito. No, wait, don't do that yet! Is what Ito wanted to say, but the finger shot into him like a laser beam flung from a supernova explosion so fast that he never had the time to let the first word pass from his lips. Ito clawed his way through the previously unimaginable horror and suffering to stand up once more. Am I shorter? He asked as he looked down at his feet and hands. Better proportions, yes. Makes the workouts easier. I altered you a bit. Ichthior, old Ichthior, he doesn't get the size and shape and all the averages right. Morphs, again, they are like this. Estraja nodded with a wink and a nod. Don't worry, you're a growing boy. in 1,001 ways. We'll have you tip-top tilting again in no time, I'm sure. He laughed as he spoke, as gregarious and welcoming as he was insanely fast. If you didn't do what Igthior said, alter yourself after the fight with Arcturian, how did you... I did what smart people do. I went to my boss. Hey, Phil Dathwool. That's his name. Hey, Esty, my boy. That's what he's used to me. Probably not, but we'll go with it. Estraja played both parts in this new conversation, looking like he was not only sitting upon the dais, but also standing in 2 places across from himself. This was a little bit of fucking crazy sauce in Ito's mind. I need you to build me a machine to channel my psychokinesis for the last time. That always pisses me off. A 4th Estraja whispered into Ito's ear from behind him. Yeah, I need you to force me to ball it up some way and try to rip it from me. Then after you've ripped almost every last bit of it out, you gotta shoot it all back at me. That sounds retarded and ridiculously dangerous. Phil Dathwool Estraja crossed his arms and stamped one foot rather sternly, drawing a laugh from Ito and the other Estrajas. Somebody gets it. Past Estraja turned to comment toward Ito. Who are you talking to? You know what? Never mind. I'll have Kogoro start working on plans. Phil Dathwool Estraja began pacing off. A 5th Estraja emerged from out of nowhere. Hey buddy, he said to past Estraja. It's been ever so long since we last spoke. We're still quite good friends, I hope. Even though I'm ever so stuffy and more annoyed at your antics than anyone should ever be. I hear you want me to build a machine to possibly destroy you. That sounds quite fun. Oh, it very well could. A fucking 6th Estraja spoke up as he walked onto the scene. Science, blah blah. I'm really much too smart to say anything nice or too productive. Sciencey stuff. Enough, I get it. Ito held up his hands. Only one Estraja's smile-smeared face remained after Ito's plea. You can probably see why they get annoyed with me. I understand too, I really do. But... it's just the way I am. Like it was gonna go away just 'cause I couldn't make chairs and toilets talk anymore. He bellowed at the humor of his distant memories. So, how are you going to change me then? You don't know how the machine works or anything. Child, we're in the machine, right now. Estraja slammed his fist into Ito's stomach once again, sending him soaring through the air, little flecks of golden lightning flickering around Ito's eyes as he hurtled at a snail's pace. And so it is, our story has once more come to a close. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I have. As always, I've been your proficient host, Lothran, and this was Cobwebbed Inheritance, another tale right from the heart of the Jakuls. As is necessary at the end of these talks, you must be led back to the safe path. Korvoth, guide them out.
Yes, sir. A pleasant hello and a fond farewell to each and all. Please leave your comments, questions, and kindnesses down below. None of that awful, rude, or mean stuff, though. You keep that to yourself. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to help us learn, spread, and grow. Don't forget, we strongly implore each and every one of you to do your absolute utmost to stay safe out there. Good night and good luck, everyone. You'll need it. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.